tell them about the piece knocked out.
Yeah. Okay, I want to welcome everybody. This is David Miller and Gudrun Miller. We're in Prescott, Arizona. We want to welcome everybody. We are doing this webinar with the Council of Elders of the Group of 40. I want to point out to everybody that there is a chat line. If you have any comments or questions or anything you want to say to us or anyone, please use the chat because there will not be any other way of interacting. And let me just, I'm going to have to mute everybody. So first I will give a short introduction, and then we're going to do a meditation together, and then we will go to the questions. I know that many of you have submitted questions to us, and we are prepared for the answers. So as an introduction, let me just say that Gudrun and I have been working together, studying, and I've been channeling about the Ascension for over 20 years. We have explored Ascension from the aspect of the mystical traditions of the Kabbalah, from the teachings of Sananda Jesus, from the fifth dimensional work of the Arcturians. And we have talked in many different lectures about what you have to do to prepare for the Ascension. And we have talked about what happens when you ascend. We've talked about the Arcturian Stargate, and we've even gone into the scientific process of the Ascension, which Juliano, my guide and teacher, has called the transmutation of physical energy. But after doing all this, it still is clear that there are many questions about the Ascension, which is understandable because this whole process of ascension is not really logical. It doesn't really fit into the linear third dimensional world. But the idea of the ascension is directly related to our soul development. So to go further, we want to use our study and knowledge in conjunction with the Group of 40 Council of Elders, which include Corae, Cosmin, Birgit, Gudrun, Purvesh, Jane, and myself, and Henry, who is not is here but is not on the video. So together we have put together this panel in order to help answer the questions and explore with you different aspects of the Ascension. I want to say that I will be doing a short channeling at the end of this presentation, and there will be a link sent to those who request for a copy of this webinar. So we have quite a nice panel, and we've decided we're going to begin the webinar with a meditation, and Jane from Australia is going to lead us in meditation. So Jane, I'm going to turn it over to you, and let me unmute you, and she's going to lead us in a meditation to start the whole process. So Jane, over to you.
Thank you, David. Hello, everybody.
No.
This is a meditation the Council of Elders does before we start every meeting. We connect with the Galactic Council. So go within and connect with your I Am presence. You just say the words, I am. Allow your spirit body to rise up through your crown chakra to the ceiling of your room. From there, visualize the image that we are all sitting together in a circle above the North Pole, and we are all interacting together. Let us all think the same thought of connecting with the Galactic Council. and see that thought coming into the shape of a cosmic egg and forming around us in the circle. Now, send that thought-filled cosmic egg out to the center of the galaxy, to the central sun area, where the Galactic Council is meeting. This cosmic egg thought field has a special receptivity to the Galactic Council. We leave the cosmic egg there, and now we come back to the Earth, creating a corridor from the cosmic egg back to us here on Earth. We have now created a receptor field. We now have a conduit and light and energy from the thought field of the Galactic Council. And the Galactic Council is now sending out thought to us, and we are connected. Thank you.
David, you're muted.
I was muted by David.
No, David is muted.
David?
Okay, so I'm now turning it over to Birgit, who is going to be the moderator of the panel.
Hello, everyone. My name is Birgit, and I've been a council member and a member of the GOF for many years. The council, not so many, but I chose to be the moderator, and I just want to say one thing. I want to make just one little remark, which I think is really important, and Juliano has told us that we are all programmed, and it's in our DNA to ascend. So I'd like everyone to be aware of that. We are programmed to ascend just the same as we are programmed and our body know how to die, okay? So I think that would reassure everybody about the process and how it would occur. You will know, okay? So let me go to the first question, which comes from Christopher Avon of California. And it's to be answered by Cosmin. She would like to know, what does ascension look like? And I turn it over to Cosmin for an answer.
Thank you, Birgit. Thank you, Christopher. And also the second question is also from Christopher. What does ascension feel like?
I was going to take them one at a time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yes, but I would like to respond
Okay.
to both at
Okay.
the same time.
All right.
Okay. Thank you also everybody for this opportunity to be of service. And with your permission, I will answer the first two questions. Okay. Let's go first with what does ascension feel like? Before I do answer the first one, because then it will be maybe easier to answer the second one. I want to share with you my memories about the ascension experience, because I do have memories from that moment of ascension. I don't remember details where it was or when or on what planet and so on, but I do have memories of the very moment of ascension, of what I felt, how my feelings were, or what my feelings were, how was the context, how it went. I believe in general, we tend to remember the most intense experiences as a soul when the context begins to be proper for it. For instance, now on Earth. Well, not only the negative ones, of course, but of course also the very uplifting and positive ones. I remember being in this most uplifting mental, emotional, and etheric state. It is an overwhelming state of joy, of ecstasy and uplifting. It is as if all that we wished for comes to fulfillment and joins in this one very moment. It is all done. We did it. All that we have planned for to achieve is already a part of us. This gives us a feeling of utmost peace and joy. This is already something that is activating us very powerfully and raises our frequency already to a very high level in that moment. Now, I remember that there were two other beings, two masters, that were holding the space for the moment, for the event of the ascension. They were working lovingly to create the proper context and to hold this context for this step to be done. In this memory, I know that there was a detailed preparation process before this moment, which included the context where it should happen, the participants, and of course, my own preparation for it. To a certain moment, when the ascension approaches, one already knows and has decided and committed within oneself to this experience. And from that moment, all flows towards that experience. Depending on each person's past experience and lifetime, abilities and mission, and so on, it needs a certain context and eventually support from others in order to be done. Well, to continue, I remember the two beings joining me. Then, reconnecting to this memory, I can feel the power and intensity of this one moment. The energy field surrounding me was of a very high frequency. The two beings supporting were holding the space for me. And I believe that it's important that these beings that are holding the space are very close to oneself. There is a very deep connection and friendship at a soul level with these beings, because it helps. Because trust is important in holding that space. I remember that the only thing that I had still to do in that moment is to really want or have the will to move on, to ascend, to go, to make that step, the final intention to move on to the next realm. I do feel that it's important to mention the ascension is one act of choice and cannot happen if we are not willing it with all that we are. That moment, I remember to have expressed this will with my entire being. My entire self said or expressed innerly, I am. In that moment, but I expressed that being really aware of my entire presence, my multidimensionality, my creative power as a soul. And I was fully aware of this now moment. And with this impulse, these were my last words, or my last thoughts, so to speak, and that propelled me beyond. And I like to imagine this moment as if something is going to a peak point, and everything necessary is rushing to join this one moment, and then within a short instance, an opening with this impulse takes place, and you are swept in a new place, a new home that is more fitted now for yourself. There is an overwhelming love that what surrounds in this moment, and also the eagerness to experience the beyond, to be there, help to be able to let go of all that is with a pure-hearted blessing and gratitude, for this has served you so well in achieving this remarkable evolutionary moment. I remember that in that high energy field, I was not really aware anymore of the physical surroundings or the place where this happened. There was just this light opening that one moves forward in, similar to a ray of sun, but that is not blinding. I believe one can grasp already what is beyond awaiting. Then many are awaiting to welcome and embrace oneself. So then with this final impulse, You give the impulse to bilocate and to move your complete self into the next realm. So this is what I felt, and what it was. And then I just gonna make a short comment to the first question, how it is look like. Well, I think it's also about perspective. If, of course, if you are the one ascending, it surely looks different as for somebody else being a witness of your ascension. I already described how it feels from a personal experience. And I believe from the experience of the others, it looks like one steps into a light, and an intense moment of opening light sweeps the ascending being, or the ascendee, within this lightful nothingness. And I believe this is an overwhelming experience in a different way. I believe one is amazed, one is happy, one has a wonderful, fulfilling faith and inner peace and trust. And also one is called to hold the space for that being that is ascending with love and blessings, for it helps this being to let go and move on. So that's it for the first two questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Cosmin. That was the first account I ever heard of this experience. Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, we have a question that Purvesh has decided he would like to answer. Are you here, Purvesh? Yeah.
Yes.
The question is, does everyone ascend, no matter what their level of consciousness?
Thank you, Birgit.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome, everybody, to this gathering of the Council of Elders. It's very nice for us to interact with you directly through these question and answers. Sometimes we don't have the chance to interact so much with the Groupofforty, with the people of the Groupofforty, and this is one nice opportunity we have. I'm talking to you from Buenos Aires, Argentina, South America, and I'm going to answer these questions. First of all, I want to make clear that I don't have the complete information. I have parts of the information that comes to me through meditation, some trance states, or sleeping at night. And sometimes I know because I remember my galactic past lives, some parts, others through intuition, and others simply know because of my life experience. So concerning this question, does everyone ascend no matter what their level of consciousness? The answer is no. The ascension process is not for everybody. If you are a murderous, you can't ascend. If you contribute to the pollution of Gaia, you cannot ascend. If you're a bad person, you don't have the high frequency that is needed in order to ascend. You have to will it, as Cosmin mentioned, and you have to be prepared. How we prepare to ascend? We prepare raising our frequency through meditations, through shimmering, through bilocation, thought projection, biorelativity. That's what all the tools that we use in the Groupofforty to raise our frequency. So we've been told in many channelings that the ascension process will be in 3 waves. The first wave will be for advanced meditators and for the people that have high frequency and also that they are ready right now to ascend. The second wave will be a little more massive, but again, people that have their frequency in the right elevation will ascend. And the third wave will be quite massive. Slowly, many people would achieve that state of being ready to ascend. Thank you. Back to you, Birgit.
Thank you, Purvesh. That was very enlightening. I have a question here that would you like to answer? Do we physically go anywhere different? Would you like to answer that as well?
Yes.
Please.
Okay, so they're similar, these 2 questions.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the one with all souls and Gaia sent together?
No.
That's the one
I'll say. Then we'll go to that. Okay. We'll just move to that later. Okay.
Okay.
All right. The next question I have is from Yvonne. I believe she's in Australia. And she asked, is it true that if your physical body is not complete or whole, for example, organs have had to be removed because of disease or limbs removed through an accident, you are unable to ascend in that lifetime? And that would be answered by Mr. Henry.
Thank you. Based on what I think would be the answer, I would say that this should not be any hindrance to ascension, since the ascension is a total break from the earth body and the third dimensional incarnational cycle. It is a journey of the soul to the fifth dimension. So the physical body in the third dimension should not get in the way if there's been an organ removed. That's my answer.
Thank you, Henry. Absolutely. Okay. The next question I have comes from Fee. Fee is in England, and she asked us, are there different levels of ascension? I understand that I'm at kindergarten level of ascension. Perhaps you can give more detailed information on this for ascension seekers. Thank you. And this would be answered by Corae.
Thank you, Birgit. And Fee, thank you for asking that question. And I want to wholeheartedly suggest to you that you are anywhere near kindergarten level. Every member of the Groupofforty has been attracted to this higher frequency information, and it means you're on an accelerated path to the ascension. And you're practicing, because I know you slightly, you're practicing with the tools that Juliano has been giving us. So first of all, cross that off your list. You are not a kindergartner. So I'm going to echo again one more time what has been said by both Cosmin and Purvesh, that Juliano has channeled to us multiple times that the ascension is a program. It's in our DNA, and it's just as similar as when the body goes into puberty. It's going to happen. It's just when it's going to happen. So we have been instructed to continue to raise our light quotient so that we are acutely aware of shifts in energy. Hypothetically, if we raise our light quotient to perfection, we would be in a place of transformation of our physical body. Spiritual preparation includes raising our spiritual light quotient, the technology of energy fields, and we must raise the aura of this energy field. So in answer to the original explicit question is, are there levels? If there is a level, it is the level of consciousness at that magical moment of ascension. So working on and practicing our level of consciousness is key. David has just put up a diagram of the Tree of Life, and David has been giving several classes on the Tree of Life study. I would encourage you all to follow along with that, use that tool. David would get that diagram for you. There are many healers in this group that could help you understand how you work with the spheres in pairs and bring it back to the middle, making that triangle, to alleviate yourself from fear, because the only thing that stands in your way is fear. Roosevelt, yeah. So the number one way to increase your spiritual light quotient is to choose to be happy. Why worry about something that's already in your DNA? Keep your joy in the knowing that you are going home and you will no longer be confined to this karmic wheel of imprisonment on earth. And number two, practice, practice, practice. Keep your thoughts impeccable. Any drama that's in your life, use the tools that the Arcturians have shared with us. Try to find that place where the fear is residing. Why is the fear there? How can you resolve that doubt? I think in the Tree of Life class or in the Kabbalah that David taught early on, Emunai, absolute certainty. We have to, and Cosmin referred to it, at that moment of ascension, you have to have certainty. Where are you going? You know, I guess you can turn around and come back to Earth if you want to serve. We've had quite enough of this. So certainty of where you're going. One other remark I wanted to make, participate with other GOF members. You don't realize how building this camaraderie with other light workers establishes sacred union, because it's that sacred union that shifts the auric field of this planet. And that's one thing about the Group of 40 is we're also working with the ascension of the planet, not just our own. We're working together for the integrity of the unity. So live each day being ready for transition to an awareness of your highest frequency. When this is reached, we will ascend. Our mighty, glorious I Am knows exactly what to do and how to be. So go in peace, go in joy. Thank you.
Thank you, Corae. That was really beautiful. Thank you very much. I have a question from Henry Benner. And Henry wants to know, he says, David often says that the ascension is similar to the Christian idea of the so-called rapture. And then he quotes Wikipedia, and the definition of rapture is connected to the second coming of Christ and will occur in 2 stages. In the first stage, Christ will gather the believers or the saved in the air, quotes, and they will be transported to heaven. Then, after 7 years of tribulation, Christ will return in body to the earth and reign in triumph. Question: will the ascension involve Sananda, and if so, what will be his role? And I give this over to Cosmin.
Harry, for this wonderful question. Okay, let's go. I believe the personal ascension will involve all those beings and masters that you have built a wonderful connection with during the life experience and other experiences before. Sananda will surely be one of the many joining and maybe helping to coordinate the ascension event as a part of the Galactic Council, for instance, responsible for the Earth. As a fifth-dimensional master, one can bilocate and be present in many contexts and different services. I believe that the ascension will involve smaller to bigger groups, and that a coordinated effort is necessary for all to flow wonderfully. I know that the context for the ascension plays an important role, and surely this is one task to see too from both sides. Maybe even a coordination between many events of ascension at the same time will occur. This needs a great presence and support from the ascended masters as a service for us, the one who are ascending. I believe also that beings like Sananda, who hold and anchor powerful energies like the messianic light, also need to be present in the dissolving of all earth bonds that maybe still need grace and transformation for the ascendees. And this will be an important task to be present to, because as Juliano said, many will not have 100% done of their homework, so to speak, the ascension homework, when ready to ascend. Maybe there will be with 95% done to be fulfilled, and the rest will need a common effort to be overcome, for instance, with grace. I must say also, referring to the rapture, that the ascension is not meaning there is a separation between believers and non-believers, or sinners or non-sinners, or however this might be interpreted. The ascension is a personal will and choice that requires great focus and dedication, and one ascends because one wants it and one is ready for it, not because one is chosen or more valued like others. All souls on earth choose to be where they are. All is good. There is no punishment or tribulation whatsoever. More, if there are dramatic events happening or distractions, then these are necessary for the lessons to learn and for the evolution of the souls having that experience. And that is the result and consequence of the own choice and free will. Thank you.
Thank you, Cosmin. Very well explained. We can move forward to the second question submitted to us by Henry, and he will also answer his question. So he said, as we mentioned in one of our council meetings, does one have to be aware of the ascension in order to ascend? Does one have to work and prepare for the ascension? We've answered this. Recall that the June GF lecture described the characteristics and requirements for the path of ascension. There's a protocol which you can follow that will allow you to complete this path of ascension. Note that the word can is used rather than must. Are we to understand that the protocol is optional, or is it required? The 4 aspects of the path of ascension were, briefly, A, to understand your personal and planetary mission. B, service to humanity. C, grace, a suspension of karmic difficulties. And D, raising one's spiritual light quotient. And I will now turn it over to you, Henry.
All right. Well, I guess I kind of answered the question after posing it. And from what has been said already, it's clear that one has to want to ascend in order to ascend. It doesn't just happen. So just to elaborate a little bit about it, 4 aspects. The first aspect was to understand your personal and planetary mission. And in the June 2018 lecture, this was entitled The Characteristics and Requirements for the Path of Ascension. And there were 4 sections. In the first section, Vairamas addressed this first aspect and said that your planetary mission is involved in helping to balance and heal and to bring this planet into a higher balance. We may experience despair and disappointment upon observing how out of control many aspects of the biosphere and planetary development are, but do not let the despair overwhelm you. You must not give in to this despair. You must maintain the proper thought field that will contribute to the successful evolution and healing of this planet. So one of the missions for you in personal and planetary work is to gain a higher planetary perspective. Now, the second aspect of the path to ascension that was mentioned was service, and this was described in some detail by Kutumi, who was also known in the previous lifetime as Saint Francis of Assisi. Doing basic service to those in need can lead you on your ascension path. Maybe service does not seem glamorous, but I assure you that service has the highest potential for accelerating, resolving karma, and for putting you in the most advantageous position for your ascension. In fact, this aspect of service may indeed be the most important one for the ascension, especially when it is realized that now on Earth, this is the time of greatest need for service. How are you to do your service? Each one of you has a specific group of people that you can help. Each one of you has specific opportunities to reach out to certain groups in your neighborhood, your city, or your country. Recall there is really a great emphasis on service in Western religious beliefs, and this can be summarized by the golden rule. Treat your neighbor as yourself. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Do unto others as you would do to yourself or to your family. The core of service. Then in the lecture, Archangel Michael spoke about grace as one of the 4 paths of ascension. Grace consists in asking for a suspension of karmic difficulties in the face of what you are perceiving as an insurmountable barrier. You may have a problem that you have been trying to resolve and you have been unsuccessful. You are saying something like this to the Creator, to the Ascended Masters, or to your guides and teachers. I have tried to the best of my ability and I do not seem to be making progress. Please grant me grace so that I may pass through this smoothly and successfully without harm to myself or to my family. If grace is granted, this concept can be summarized as saying that one surrenders to a higher power. That is, it becomes not my will, but thy will. The karma that is insurmountable energetically turns into a surrender to the higher path to thy will. And by surrendering, you are engaging in a higher spiritual energy that will allow the grace to transpire in your personal life. Juliano then spoke about the fourth important part of the ascension path, which is raising your spiritual light quotient. And this has been mentioned in previous answers. So how do you do that? There are several different exercises and methods, which include going to sacred places, experiencing the sacred energy at those places, working at sacred times, calling on guides and teachers to cohabitate with you, and engaging in prayer and meditations. You can also continue to create sacred areas that the Arcturians have called planetary cities of light. You can work with etheric crystals, and you can also thought project yourself to the fifth dimension, which can include going to the Arcturian crystal lake or to the crystal temple. Find other spiritual people who want to work together to create a higher network of vibrational energy healing for the ascension path. Visualize a thought field and a higher vibrational energy field connecting as an energetic grid around this planet. See that grid materializing as an energy force. So you can raise your spiritual light quotient by studying, engaging in teaching, learning, reading, and having peak spiritual experiences. Seek out the higher light at all times that it is available. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Henry. So I'm checking time, and I'm thinking I may have to shorten your next question just a little bit, okay? All right. His third and last question is, must one physically die in order to ascend, or can one ascend and remain living on Earth? And then he describes the glossary and connecting with the Arcturians.
You could just ask it that way, I suppose.
And how it's defined. So what he literally wants to know is, in the definition implies that in the ascension, if one is freed from the cycle of karma and rebirth, one is no longer living on the Earth's surface. But can one come back to the third dimension if one wants to? And I turn this one over to Jane, please.
Thanks, Birgit, and thanks for asking this, Henry. I love this question. So why would we even have to think we have to leave Earth to live on another planet, for example, to experience the fifth dimension, or even wait until we're short of breath to ascend? So do it now in consciousness. The challenge is to live as a fifth dimensional being on the Earth, even though we're in a third dimensional body. And there's nothing stopping us. Look at the Dalai Lama. He's here. He's not short of breath. And he's a fifth dimensional energy. So the secret is to be on the Earth, but not part of it. The secret lies in mind intent and in the connection of that higher mind to your higher self, and through your light body to the fifth dimensional realm. Now remember, you already have a light body in the fifth dimension. And in all our meditations, well, most of them, we go and join on the ring of ascension. We join it on the ring of ascension. And also your fifth dimensional light body is already at the crystal lake, sitting in a circle there, waiting for you to visit. Now, and you're able to visit in your astral body and download your energy into the fifth dimensional body, experience that, and bring the memory back with you. And don't forget, a gift from Archangel Metatron. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Zevaot. Hello. Every time I sing this, and it's often, I visualize a huge key opening up my consciousness another notch. Sometimes it's easy and sometimes it creaks. Because when you unlock the codes of ascension, you unlock access to the higher dimensions, and those beautiful higher thoughts come into your consciousness. You open your perception to dramatic possibilities and high levels of thinking and thought processes. You receive assistance and support from your guides and teachers, you have a natural, basic connection to the fifth dimension. As has been mentioned, that connection is already part of your heritage and your genetic codes. You have already got the genetic structure to open and experience the fifth dimension while you're here on the third. It's the basic foundation of us, the Adam species. And as you open up to the fifth dimensional energy, hey, your third dimensional life is influenced and you become a very valuable person on the third dimension. You begin to develop a different mindset, belief system. You even have a different energy field and a greater emotional body development. And your physical energy is fabulous. So what else do we need to do to be fifth dimensional on the third dimension? 2 words. They both begin with H. Harmony and heart. To be fifth dimensional, you just need to be harmonious. Now, some people think, oh, well, to be harmonious, you have to spend time in devotion and prayer, ceremonial service, and solemn affirmations. Nonsense. Anything you do constructively and lovingly is a natural, harmonious expression of our gift of life. It can be helping a friend, doing your job with joy, or just interacting with everyone in peace. So every hour of every day, we receive many opportunities to be fifth dimensional. Every time we choose harmony over anger or depression, we're raised up into the fifth dimension. And you know, we often feel that working, cleaning, preparing meals, taking care of the kids, repairing the car and shopping are all distractions that prevent us from being spiritual and harmonious. But actually, they are your greatest opportunities to develop your spiritual skills, to release karma, to learn our lessons. Our actions don't have to be spiritually focused, but they need to be loving and harmonious. There is a law of harmony that states that no matter what we have to do, if we do it harmoniously and constructively, it will enhance our spiritual growth. Then nothing bothers us. Nothing takes us off center or clouds the awareness of love in our hearts. We're fearless, protected, a source of blessing to all. Also, when we work harmoniously, we accelerate our vibratory rate. Corae talked about your light quotient. So when we surround ourselves with harmony and love, everything in our life is in love and harmony. We begin to truly vibrate as a fifth dimensional being. I love the third dimension. I think it's fabulous fun. Now, the last part of the question was, when you ascend, you will have a choice. You make the decision yourself about whether you come back to the third dimension or tootle off to another planet. But if you do come back, you will come back as a higher vibration, probably to do some magnificent spiritual work. Mother Teresa, the Dalai Lama, Paolo Coelho, you could be a great author. Look at the Vietnamese master. Now, I don't know if I've got this right. Thich Nhat Hanh. Eckhart Tolle, Sai Baba, I loved him. And Ravi Shankar. Just to name a few who've made an impact by coming back to the third dimension. So look at yourself now. Look at the lessons you need to work through. Do the work on yourself. Live fifth dimensionally and then watch out world. That's my answer. I hope it wasn't too long.
Thank you, Jane. You forgot to mention Oprah.
Oh, yes. Not on my wavelength.
Couldn't help it. Thank you. Beautiful. So in the interest of time, I feel that we need to go to David now, who wishes to answer a couple of questions through his channeling. David, are you ready?
Yeah, let's do Gudrun's question first.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, she's at the very end. That's why. Okay, yes, let's do Gudrun's and then we go to channeling. All right. This question is asked by Corae, and she would like to know, how is Ascension different from the energies felt from the process of death or from the lives between lives experience? And Gudrun would like to answer.
Thank you, Corae. That's a perfect question for me to answer. I want to emphasize one of the things that Corae said, and that struck me, and that is that no one that is listening to our webinar today, and no one that is a part of the group of 40 is a kindergartner or a beginner, or you would not be attracted to this group. And my experience of the group of 40 and the membership all over the planet is that we have some of the finest people on this planet with very high integrity and intention and spiritual focus. So please, if you're thinking that you're not up to snuff, you have to discard that thought. So on to the question. I want to answer it based on my experience with hypnotherapy regression with my clients. I think Cosmin answered the question about how it feels to ascend, so I don't have to address that. So I want to talk about what happens when you go through the death process to the fourth dimension, which is the astral plane. And it's the place that you go to after you die and then still have to re-experience other incarnations. When you die, you mostly are met by your own guidance. Your guides will meet you once you step out of your body. And then you have a conversation with your guides and talk about your life, a life review, if you will. And then you move on to meet with your soul family. And this is a very joyous meeting. And the soul, your soul group, 7 to 9 beings, are beings that have evolved with you through your soul journey. And you share very deeply all of your own growth from each other. Then you can move on to meeting with your council. And the council is a very wise group of beings that will advise you on your next lifetime or whatever it is you need to do in between lifetimes. Sometimes we spend many, many years in Earth time. There is no time in the higher dimension, but a long time, let's say, doing many other things before you reincarnate. And when you do reincarnate, it's because there's an opportunity for you to learn your lessons or to be of service in a particular way. The moving into death is a mixed feeling for many of my clients. It's the fourth dimension. It's a blessing and it's very sweet, but it's also worrisome because there's still a part of you that knows that you have more lessons to learn, and you wonder maybe, oh, did I screw up? Did I mess up? Did I work hard enough? Am I going to have to learn that lesson over again? So you are evaluated, but always, always, always with so much love and compassion. And then I've had clients who, when they go into a deep trance, not necessarily into the fourth dimension, they will go right directly to the very high dimensions, such as the 7th and the 11th. And these are ones that haven't had that many lifetimes. And they chose to come to the earth for very specific lessons and also to be teachers. And I think of one in particular. She went to the 11th dimension, and it was like Cosmin said, it was a homecoming. She did not wish to come back to her body. Which would not be a good thing for me because it's not an ascension, and I would have her body on my couch. That would not work for me that well. But she experienced total joy. She was weeping because this was her home. It was a crystalline home, and she understood herself from there, and she had no doubts about her very difficult life here on earth. She understood every aspect of it. She wanted to go further. She felt like she could go further into dimensional experience, but she was blocked, which was interesting. And we understood that the blockage was that if she went any further, she would disconnect from her body, and she still had work to do on earth. I think that's my answer. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Gudrun. Thank you very much. David, would you like to take one or two questions?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right. Then we'll start with where we left off earlier. And this question is from Bonnie Surauk. She wants to know, will all souls and Gaia ascend together as if time stopped? Would you like me to read the next one or wait?
No, that's fine. Read the next one.
Will it appear to those left behind that those that ascended never came home, or will they find the bodies? Can you take one more, or is this it?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, this is one more. This is also Bonnie Sue. Will technology and communication be deactivated before ascension, so those remaining will regress to a more primitive culture? Okay.
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 Shalom. 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 Greetings, I'm Juliano. We are the Arcturians. We are fifth dimensional masters who are coming to the earth as part of our mission. It is a mission of service. All higher beings in the galaxy wish to be of assistance to spiritual seekers throughout the universe. It is a calling. It is a natural calling that we respond to, and that you, when you ascend, will also respond. It is done, our service is done out of joy and also out of a return to those who came before us, to those who ascended before us and provided the same service that we are now seeking, that we are now offering to you who are on the path of ascension. Remember that the ascension is a transmutation of your physical cellular structure into another substance that allows you to enter the fifth dimension. I realize that it is very difficult to imagine or to think about, but your cells that compose your body have to change in order for you to go into your light body. The physical body is a tool. It is a suit that you wear. But this physical body is of a lower vibrational energy. And that lower vibrational energy will not allow you to enter the fifth dimension. So you either discard the body, which happens in death, or you change the structure of the body so that it will allow you to go into the fifth dimension. Part of our mission is to teach you the technology that is necessary to do this change. And the primary methodology or method is the acceleration of your aura, the acceleration of your energy field. We have given specific exercises, which include bilocation, thought projection, and shimmering. I'm very happy and pleased that so many of you have responded so favorably to these exercises. The exercise of shimmering in particular offers a very good understanding and perhaps a third dimensional explanation of how you change your physical structure so that that structure can transmute and be adaptable and allow you to go into the fifth dimension. The shimmering is based on the concept that the aura has a vibrational speed, and that the higher that speed is, the more your aura becomes fifth dimensional. Eventually, at such a high speed, the whole energy field shifts your physical body, and your physical body and your energy field merge, and then you enter the fifth dimension. But everyone is not going to do this. And when you ask the question, well, is the earth and the people are sending, is this going to happen at once? No. First of all, we have spoken about the waves and the different ascensions because it requires a spiritual advancement in order to ascend. There are only a small percentage of people on this planet now who have the spiritual advancement and the spiritual knowledge and technology to ascend. I have to tell you, though, that even with all of the advanced practice and technology, you still cannot ascend without the ascension calling. The ascension calling has been compared to the Gabriel's horn, which is a loud vibrational energy, an energy that you perhaps have never heard before, at least not in this lifetime. But when you do hear it, you will immediately go into the proper response, whether that be shimmering, bilocation, or thought projection. But the sound indicates that the ascended masters are sending a high assistance of energy, a fifth dimensional energy that will push you over the edge and allow you to ascend. Now, this is saying that for all your work and all your advancement, you're still not advanced enough. But don't despair, because this is part of the grace of ascension. That is, that we, the ascended masters, are going to help you how many of you have reached the level of Jesus or Mohammed or of Lao Tzu or Kutumi? Not very many of you. And the question of, well, what do I believe? If you believe in Jesus, then Jesus will be your guide. If you believe in Mohammed, then Mohammed will be your guide. If you believe in Juliano, I will be your guide. If you believe in Moses, then Moses will be your guide. So a lot of this idea of the ascension is tied in to your belief system and who your guides and teachers are. You do not have to accept all of the guides and teachers. And as I said, you could work with the guides and teachers. You could work with the, shall we say, the whirling dervishes, the Rumi, the great Muslim mystic who is already gathering many of the light workers from his great work of uniting with the higher energies. And he is there preparing to receive and to activate and to reach out to many people. No, you are not going to find dead bodies around. The question of ascension, for example, the movie Left Behind, or there is a difference. And the important thing for you to understand is it's a transmutation, it's a change. So your physical body does not die. You don't leave it behind, but the body is elevated. The body, I have to use the word transmute. The body, the aura goes to such a high frequency that it shifts your body into a new energy. And that energy is able to go into the fifth dimension. But there is not going to be a body left behind. And there's not going to be what has been depicted in some of the Christian concepts of the rapture, where people are ascended and their cars are left undriven or without a driver and there are accidents, or the airplane pilot ascends and the plane crash. No, nothing of that's going to happen. Remember, time is linear. So it's difficult to talk about how long the ascension is going to take place, but it will be a brief moment, but it will be enough time also to allow whatever needs to be done, so that there's not death and destruction left behind. But the Earth is in a different position. And do not confuse the Earth changes that are happening with the ascension. The question was, well, will the technologies be destroyed that you know? And there has been a great deal of discussion about the end times. And then when the times get so bad, this is a sign that the ascension is going to happen. And one of the indications that the times are so bad is that the technology will break down. But I do not say that there is a direct correlation between the end times and perhaps destructions of the technology and the ascension. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean that the destruction or of the civilization is causing the ascension. There is a destruction of this biosphere. There is a destruction of the mass extinctions. But this is part of the crisis. We are working to stop the degradation of the biosphere. We are working to stop the destructions that are occurring. But you see already that there are many things that are out of control. So I prefer that we not try to correlate that when things get worse, the ascension is going to be more likely. The only difference, the only correlation is that as more and more people experience the crisis that this planet is in, then the more spiritual seeking will go on. But you are already spiritually seeking. So the quote end times events will cause more people to seek out spiritual answers to this conflicting, dangerous crisis that you are all witnessing on the earth. And also the Earth's ascension is in a way different, because you are not going to ascend with the earth. The earth will only ascend in parts. I know that's hard to imagine, but there is a light body for the earth, for Gaia, and different parts of that higher vibrational energy on the earth are connecting to that light body, but it's not happening at once. And you, as light workers, are helping to connect parts of the earth to the fifth dimensional earth. This is a great opportunity today to explore the ascension. And remember, you are still students of the ascension, and there is much more to teach. Continue your studies, continue your questions, but most important, continue to raise your light frequencies and try and connect and identify with your aura, with your energy field. The ascension, we have said, and Sananda said, is a time when you don't look back. When you feel the ascension, go forward. I like to think of the episode when there was the explosion in the ancient times, and it was told, do not look back. And the man's wife looked back and she turned to stone. So remember, look forward. Don't hesitate. You will feel an upliftment. You will feel a joy. You will feel a calling. You will feel an upliftment. You will feel a vibrational tingling in your whole body, in your energy field. And you will feel an acceleration, something like you're taking off in a spaceship, but not exactly. Go with it. And you will have many guides waiting for you as you cross the threshold into the fifth dimension. I'm Juliano. Good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. God bless.
Thank you, David. That was
Thank you.
wonderful.
Thank you,
Loved
everyone,
your
for
answer.
coming.
Thank you.
Thank you
Okay.
for your
Thank you.
questions.